And welcome to another game day edition Sunday here with yours truly, your host of the Mass Steel podcast, also host of On Deck on CSR, Charles Prodigy Richey. We got Battle of the Unbeaten tonight. This afternoon coming up in just a little bit at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time will be the kickoff time between both 5-0 teams, Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tennessee Titans. Not only for battle for AFC supremacy, but also the Steelers are looking to maintain their footing, staying in first place in the AFC North. We'll get into that in a little bit and why that matters. Plus, we just found out the latest inactives for today's game going into this matchup. Who the Steelers and Titans will be without? I'll break that down to you in just a second. If you guys want to follow here on the Mass Steel podcast, check out the live show. I am streaming live currently right now, both on Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook page, Meta Steel Podcast. And then you can also check me out on my Instagram live stream right now, Meta Steel Podcast. If you guys wish to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, you can do so. Simply put, at Prodigy Richey. And then you can also check me out on Twitter for the Meta Steel Podcast, at Meta Steel CJR. Then also at Mass Steel Nation on Instagram as we get ready to get into a lot more right here. Like I said, Pittsburgh Steelers are on a pretty good roll right now. Also, you'll be hearing my keys to the game right now. Such a big matchup, a five-star matchup, as they would normally like to call it, around the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. This is definitely going to be a war today. And I can only imagine right now. I can imagine being the Steelers being up to the challenge right now. Brings out the best as far as Mike Tomlin going up against winning football teams all time in his career versus winning teams. Mike Tomlin is a career 59-30-0 on the road. He is 9 games above 500 at 20-11-0. So some huge stuff right there. It usually brings out the best Steelers version every time when he gets these guys fired up for a game. Been doing this for a long time. And right now, I got to imagine it's going to be a lot of stuff. The biggest elephant in the room right now, no doubt about it, is going to be Derrick Henry here. A guy who I'm sure a lot of people on the Steelers fans are game planning for. And you got to believe right now he's definitely going to be a huge hand, but at the same time, too, maybe not the hand. Because we also got to remember, too, a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who seemed to be struggling earlier in his career where he was with the Dolphins. Remember, Ryan Tannehill, prior to coming over to the Tennessee Titans, don't forget, he's been in the playoffs one other time before last season, but he had started that game. He got his first 3 playoff games last season, and where he went 2-1. You look at a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who the Tennessee Titans had a lot of faith in right here. Right now he's got 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, real good touchdown to interception ratio. And he's only been sacked 5 times for right now. So, and he's already got 4 quarterback comebacks right now, 4 game-winning drives for this season. And we'll see what happens for this, because you got to believe right now, one of the biggest things about Ryan Tannehill is that head coach Mike Vrabel, he's not asking this guy to do a lot, just doing enough to just keep this game under control, and you see how it's paying off for right now. And you got to believe for this moment here, when you look at everything that's at stake here, and this is why it's important for the AFC North Division, simply put for this, because right now the only tiebreaker, if the Steelers are able to lose this game, the Ravens will have the edge as far as best win-loss percentage in common games. Because the Steelers lose this game, they'll go to 4-1, whereas the Steelers have already beaten the Giants, the Eagles, and the Texans, basically your NFC East and AFC South opponents that you had so far. Then you got the Ravens right now, who's pretty much perfect at this point, having defeated the Washington football team, the Eagles, the Texans, the Browns, and the Bengals so far. But the Steelers are able to win this game. A big reason why they'll not only stay ahead of the Ravens, I mean, simply because they're in the field, but one other thing, too, they got also strengthen their tiebreaker is that they'll be 4-0 in the AFC. The Ravens already got one loss in the AFC so far, which was to the Kansas City Chiefs back on Monday Night Football. So those are the things I'm paying attention to right now. I like where it stands at the moment. Just want to see more. But let's not forget, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, for this year, they've only beaten 2 playoff teams and only one winning team. I mean, you can only accept the schedule that's being given to you. I mean, obviously, you got to control what you can control. I mean, if you're a Steelers team here and a Mike Tomlin led team. Because right now, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you got right now, the Steelers, who for the time being seem to be are tied with the Titans for that top spot. And we'll see how that works out today. I do know this, though, when the Steelers go into Tennessee, their road record, since they moved over from Houston, when they used to be known as the Houston Oilers and Tennessee Oilers, ever since moving to Tennessee as a franchise, the Steelers have not had very much success. They've been 3-8-0. However, you do got a guy like Mike Tomlin here. I mean, at the end of the day, he's 500. He's 2-2 on the road in Tennessee. So those would be my concerns right there. Usually not a favorable spot for the Steelers when they got to go face road games and play for anything. Because you got to remember, their last win when being in Tennessee was back in 2014. That was a Monday night game against Zach Mettenberger. And that was against old former Steeler offensive coordinator in that game. Don't forget, it was Ken Wisenhunt who was coaching that team. And the Steelers did kind of struggle a little bit. It took them a while to warm up, but they were able to hang on. They're able to get a key victory right there, down the stretch right there. And definitely kept them in good shape, I mean, the rest of the way. And I think after they won that game, they lost one more game the rest of the way, which was to the New Orleans Saints. So I'd like to hear your thoughts right now. What's your concerns about today's game? I definitely want to hear from you. Again, if you guys want to follow me on social media, you can definitely do so by following me on Twitter and Instagram at Prodigy Richey for the Mass Steel Podcast on Twitter. It is at Mass Steel CGR, Instagram at Mass Steel Nation, as we are getting ready to lock horns for this 5-star matchup here between the two teams right here going in. And let's get into some more news going to this game for right now. We just learned for the inactives for the Pittsburgh Steelers and today's contest right now. Here are the inactives going in for today for week number 7. The Steelers, they will be without 7 guys total. The usual people being Josh Dobbs at quarterback, Carlos Davis, defensive tackle, Derwin Gray, offensive tackle, Zach Gentry, tight end. Surprisingly, add on here is Isaiah Buggs, nose tackle. And then we already know about Mike Hilton and Derek Watt, who Mike Hilton right there, who's been battling a shoulder injury, which he hurt last week versus the Browns, same day when Devin Bush tore his ACL and pretty much had to go on season-ending surgery here. So those are the things right there you look at, I mean, what you already know about. And I really would be interested about Robert Spillane. And Mike Tomlin was talking with Bob Pompiani yesterday on one of their weekly shows they do here, the Mike Tomlin Show. And basically, one of the things, too, I mean, Mike Tomlin has great confidence, I mean, right now, in Robert Spillane's ability to be the spotlight guy, wearing the headset and being on the field of play during games. I think the only thing he did mention too in that was the concern if there's going to be any fatigue later on as he gets a little bit more responsibility and the game continues to go on. I think that's the only thing he did mention. Because when you look at the Steelers' depth chart right now, as far as on the defense, right here, I mean, behind Devin Bush, you got Marcus Allen right now. He's the other guy. But then, like I said, you got Robert Spillane, who's backing up Vince Williams. He seems like he's going to be the left starting inside linebacker. Robert Spillane is. And we'll see how this continues to work out. What I do like to see for right now, I mean, for the Steelers right now, I think in this contest, I mean, when you really look at how everything has been unfolding for this team here, I mean, for the many successes that they had, I mean, for this season here, and you got to believe right now, I mean, this is going to definitely be a game right now. Many people are really like thinking that the Steelers are looking to take out their aggression on the Titans in some way, where they'll be like for like missing their game, which would have been on October 4th, beginning of this month. Instead, that became their bye week, and almost a possibility where the Titans would have had the forfeit the game, but the Steelers would have still had faced 13 straight, regardless, 12, 13 straight games. I'm not so sure about that part. I mean, yeah, I believe it's water under the bridge at this point. But I do believe right now, when we do look at it here, I mean, for the Steelers here, I mean, they got to be ready, all guns loaded here in this contest. And I'm going to go ahead and start giving you my keys to the game. Key number one, I might have to say for right now, play with the lead. You have to start off with the lead in this contest. Pittsburgh Steelers are perfect 4-0 when setting the tempo, despite the fact we have seen some instances where it was late in games where they almost blew leads. I mean, at the same time, too, you look at a team who's number one in scoring defense going into today's matchup here. I mean, on defense, I mean, you're number one in scoring defense, number one in total yards surrendered, and they're seventh in takeaways. So I really gotta believe for right now, the Steelers, you gotta be able to start off at the gate. How you do that? That brings me to key number two. Once again, time of possession, control the time of possession. Right now, the Steelers are ranked second in controlling the clock at 33 minutes and 22 seconds. And then you got the Tennessee Titans here who are ranked 22nd in that category. So that's another thing right there I'm going to pay attention to is like time of possession. And how do you do that? You have to continue the momentum with the run game. Hopefully see a little bit more James Conner because you want to have lesser opportunities for this Titans team to get their hands on the ball, especially with a guy like Derrick Henry too. And then when we also look at too going into this matchup too, I mean for the Titans on this contest here, I mean aside from Derrick Henry, who's the most obvious elephant in the room, you got guys like right here on this team here. I mean, when we look at it, I mean, for the Tennessee Titans, you do got on here Jonnu Smith, who's one of their tight ends right now, who's on an ankle injury. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, but full participant the rest of the way. Jonnu Smith is their top receiving leader. He's their tight end. Got 234 yards for the season, along with 5 touchdowns, which leads his team. So you got to be very wary of those. How do you continue to keep pressure on this team right here? You got to make key number 3 for this contest. You want to make Ryan Tannehill uncomfortable in the pocket. He is 20-31 when being sacked 3 times or more. And when you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team right now, going into this game right now, who, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job right here. I mean, who's got 24 sacks for the year, which ranks first in the league. Yeah. Okay. All right, love you. See you later. Okay. Which was going into this context of ranked first going to this league. And then not only that, too, a big thing here. One thing, how do you help with that pass rush here? The way they're stuffing guys at the line of scrimmage. And right now, one of the biggest stats here, if you guys ever want, feel free to check it out. I'm going to go ahead and direct you to the site where you can look at it. You can definitely go to footballoutsiders.com and go defensive line ratings for the NFL. And like I said, the Pittsburgh Steelers are number one in that rating for right now, stuffing people 32% of the team. The top 5 in that category, followed by the Steelers, you got the Buccaneers, you got the Jets, as bad as they are, you got the Eagles and the Saints. So that's going to be a lot more things right there I'd be paying attention to, how they're going to be able to just continue to overwhelm this guy, if any. I think you have to find a way to make that work. You want to make sure he does not get any comfort zone. You want to force this guy to make mistakes. Name of the ball game, obviously, here. Let's go ahead and go on to key number 4 in this contest right now. Third down conversions on defense. Pittsburgh Steelers are ranked in the middle of the pack, 16th, allowing 29 of 68 third down conversions at 42.6%. So that's another thing that's been keeping this team on the field a lot longer than what they should. If anything, I'm definitely going to be paying attention a lot more to it. You definitely want to minimize their time, and that's what we're going to see for this contest going into this game right here. And hold on one second, guys. And then, of course, last but not least, for this contest, containing Derrick Henry. And that goes in with my last point with the stuff percentage. And then last point, red zone defense. They allowed 18 of 13 touchdowns at 61.5%, which is now 13th. They were in the top 3 or 4 about after week 2 or 3. Now they're at 13th in the red zone scoring. That's one concern I've been noticing that's been going a little bit under the radar here. But at the same time, too, I do believe that's something you cannot allow to happen. You got to continue to own your spot in that and dominate your territory, as Mel Blount would say back in his time. So there you have it. Those are my keys for today's game, for keys of victory. Now let's go ahead and get some other news real quick, too. Some transactions you may have heard, some signings real quick here, and some releases. Now, remember, you had Dale Lolley, who was following up on the report that was reported by the Steelers. Remember, the Steelers had just recently released Dustin Colquitt. Their punting averages towards the bottom of the league a lot right here. As we look at it, Dale Lolley did note, going for this contest, Mike Tomlin was even acknowledged that their punting was not up to snuff right now. And, Colquitt, who I thought was doing okay, but definitely at the same time, too, that's something they've been paying attention to. So they're able to re-sign earlier in this going into this game right now. They have announced earlier that they signed punter Jordan Berry and linebacker Jayrone Elliott. Berry, as you know, he has been the punter since 2015. Remember, they released them prior to the start of the season on Labor Day weekend. And, now Colquitt is no longer around. And then the team also elevated running back Trey Emmons and linebacker Jayrone Elliott from the practice squad to the active and inactive roster for Sunday's game against the Titans. Emmons and Elliott will revert back to the practice squad after the game without having to pass through waivers. And one thing, too, that Dale Lolley knows, too, the Steelers, they found a way to circumvent the NFL's rules about when a street free agent can play by having Jordan Berry begin his testing last Monday when they worked him out at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. That allowed the Steelers to add Berry, to sign Berry to the active roster on Saturday before the team traveled to Nashville, Tennessee, to face Titans in the battle of unbeatens. Berry, who served also as a place kicker for Chris Boswell, was scheduled to earn $1.9 million in 2020. The Steelers, they saved $1.2 million against their salary cap by releasing him and going with Colquitt on a minimum contract. Berry's new deal also calls for him to make the NFL minimum this season, a prorated portion of $910,000. And there you have it. We just saw one off there, too. And also one other notable stat I want to bring out here, too, right now. Ben Roethlisberger, his record against first-round quarterbacks, which is the most wins he has against any quarterback right now in his career. He's got 74 victories, career victory of 74-43-0 in this contest here. And there you have it. So let's see the Steelers get another victory. Let's see if they can get to 6-0. And not only that, too, if they get through this game, let's worry about the next two games. Two more big ones coming up. You got on the road against Baltimore. And then, two, you still got a desperate Dallas Cowboys team. As sloppy as a division the NFC East is right now, that NFC East division is up for grabs as bad as those teams are playing. So let's try and see if the Steelers could go at least minimum 2 out of 3 victories here, if not clean sweep. And that's it for this edition here of the Steelers versus Titans Game Day Morning Podcast. Once again, you can follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, at Prodigy Richey for the Mouse Steel Podcast, on Twitter, at Mouse Steel CGR, and on Instagram, at Mouse Steel Nation. As I always leave you, don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I gone.